Hi everybody, welcome to GTCoding. I have combined all the videos in the responsive homepage design tutorial series into this single long video. I hope that you will find this useful, and if you like these videos you can subscribe to this channel, and I will also leave the link of the completed Figma file in the description of this video. So let's get started. In this video, we will start designing this responsive homepage using Figma. Now this is how the desktop version looks. We can see that we have this hero section over here at the top, and then we have this testimonial section over here, and then we have the courses section, and then we have this app section, and then lastly we have this footer over here. Now we're going to use Figma features like components, auto layouts, and so on, and this will make our task easier and quicker. And then we have this tablet version over here, and this is how it looks. We have a different layout for some of the elements. Here we can see for the testimonials we have this different layout, and even for the courses we have one course below the other, and even for the footer we have two column layout. And then lastly we have this mobile version over here, and this is how it looks. Now for the mobile version, we don't have the menu items displayed over here at the top, but we have this menu icon over here, and if I click on that, we can see we have this mobile navigation menu displayed over here, and if I click on this close button, it goes back. So this is basically what we're going to design in this tutorial series. Now in this video, we will start designing the components for our website. Now components are basically things that you can reuse in Figma. So here we can see we have this button, and we can reuse the button over here just by changing the color. And if you scroll down, we can see that we have buttons over here and over here as well. So this is basically a reusable element, so we can create it as a component in Figma. And the next component that we're going to create is for this heading. So here we can see we have this heading, and even here we have the heading. So we're going to create this heading as a component as well. Now in Figma we also have a feature called variants. So you can create different variants of the same element. So we will have a variant for dark heading, and then we will have a variant for light heading, and then we'll also create variants for different screen sizes. So we will have different headings for tablets and smartphones. So for each of that we can create different variants of the same component, and then we'll also create a component for this testimonial card and also for this game card over here. Alright, so let's get started. Now if you haven't already downloaded and installed Figma, you can go over here to this website called figma.com/downloads, and you can find the download link over here. You can download for Mac or Windows, or you can even use it on a browser. And once you download Figma, you can go ahead and sign up, and it's free to create an account, and then you can go ahead and log into your Figma account in the app. Alright, here I have opened up the Figma application, and I just created a new Figma file. So I'll just rename this to responsive homepage. Now the first thing we will do is we will select the colors. So I'll just create a frame for that. I'll just click on this button and click over here. I'll just select the frame as desktop. And first of all, let's reset the X and the Y values. So I'll just type 0. Right now let's create a square. So I'll just click on this button and click over here. And I'll just set the width and the height to 200 pixels. And let's also add a corner radius of 20. We'll also add a drop shadow over here. So let's scroll down and let's click on plus over here in the effects. And I'll just click on this button, and let's click on the effect settings, and let's change some values over here. I'll just set this to, let's say, 7 pixels, and we'll set the blur to, let's say, 16 pixels. Right now let's set the colors. So for the first color I'm going to set a hex value of DA722C. So this is going to be one of the colors in our website. Here we can see this is the color for this button over here. And now let's duplicate this. So I'll just press Alt and drag it over here. Right now for the second color I'll just type 057ADA. Right now let's duplicate this and bring it over here. And for the third color I'll just type E8F7FB. We will have 3 more colors for our website. So I'll just select all of this and drag it down here by pressing Alt. and we'll just duplicate it over here. And then for the next color, I'll just add a hex value of 023047. And then for the next color, we will have a hex value of 070917. And then for the last color, we will have a hex value of 6F7DFB. Alright, these are all the colors that we need for our website. So I'll just reduce the height and the width of this frame. And I'll just rename this frame to colors. Alright, now let's start creating the components. Now in this video, we'll create the button component and the heading component. So let's create a new frame. So I'll just click on frame and I'll just create a frame over here. And let's just increase the height and the width. And let's just rename this to components. And let's add a text over here. So I'll just type components. And we'll just set the font size to 48 pixels. And I'll just set it to bold. Alright, first of all, let's create a button. So I'll just click on this text button over here. And I'll just click over here. And for the text of the button, I'll just type button text. And I'll just change some of these values over here. So I'll just set the font size to 18 pixels. And we'll just change the font to Poppins. Alright, now the next thing you have to do is you have to convert it to an auto layout. So you can just right click over here and click on add auto layout, or you can just press Shift A. And now we can see we have this auto layout. And now here we can see we have the option of adding spacing between the elements and also padding. Now the first thing we will do is we will change the background color. So let's just select this, and here in the fill, let's click on plus. And we're going to use this dark color that we have over here. So let's just select this color picker, and I'll just select this dark color from here. And we'll change the color of the text. So let's double click over here. And for this color, I'll just change this to white. Alright, now here we have the option of applying padding. So let's click on this button. And for top and bottom, I will set a padding of 16 pixels. And for left and right, I will set a padding of 32. And let's also add rounded corners. So here for the corner radius, I'll just set it to 24 pixels. And this is our button. Now if you change the text of this button, it will adjust the width according to the text. So here if I just type a small text, we can see that the width is adjusted. Alright, now the next thing we will do is we will make it a component so that we can reuse it in our website. So I'll just click on this button, and you can click on this button called create component, or you can also press Ctrl-Alt-K. And now we can see this is a component. So I'll just change the name to button. Now this button is a reusable component. So if you go over here to assets, we can see inside components we have this button, and we can just drag and drop it anywhere in our website. And now if I make some changes to this component, it will be reflected over here in this instance. So here I'll just change the background color, and now we can see both these elements have changed the background color. So that's how components work. So if you have any reusable element in your design, you can create a component of that. Alright, let's go back to the original color. Now the next thing we will do is we'll create variants of this component. So let's click on this component, and here on the right we can see we have an option called variants, and let's click on plus. And here we have the first variant. Now we will have different variants. We will have a variant for a button with icons. So for the second variant, I'll just add an icon. So I'll just right click over here, and I have installed a plugin called Hero Icons. So here we can see the plugin Hero Icons. If you don't have this installed, you can go over here to browse plugins in community, and then just search for Hero Icons over here, and just select plugins, and then just click on install. So if I just type Hero Icons, and if I go over here to plugins, here we can see the plugin, and I have installed it. So you can go ahead and install it. And once you install the plugin, you can just right click and go to plugins and click on Hero Icons, and let's select an icon from here. Let's select this icon right here. So I'll just click and drag it over here. Now let's drag this and bring it inside this button. So if I drag it over here, we can see that we have this indicator that it can be added to the left or to the right. So I'll just add it to the left, and I'll just increase the width of this component a little bit. Right, now we can see here we have this button. Now let's set the height of this icon to 16 pixels. So I'll just go over here and just click on this button called constraint proportions, and let's set it to 16 pixels. I think the font size is 18 pixels, so let's set it to 18. Now let's set the color to white. So if you scroll down, here we can see selection colors. I'll just select this and set it to white. And now we can see that the button and the text are not in the center. So let's select this variant and let's go over here to this button, alignment and padding, and let's set it to the center. And now we can see everything is in the center. And now the next thing we will do is we will select this component and we will go over here to variants, and here on the right we can see under variants we have this property 1. So I'll just change this property 1 to icon, and now this is a property of this variant. Now we can set different values to this property inside different variants. Now here for the default value I'll just type false. Now let's select the first variant, and for this icon value I'll just type false, and for the second variant we will add the icon value to true. Now if you go over here to assets and if you just bring this component over here, here on the right side we have this option called icon, and if I click on this we can see that we have this icon, and if I click on it again the icon goes away. So now we have two variants for this button. Right now let's create some more variants. So I'll just select both of these variants from here and let's duplicate it 3 more times. So I'll just press Ctrl D, and for the next two buttons we will change the background color. So I'll just select this variant and let's scroll down and let's change this fill. So I'll just select this color right here. So I'll just open the color picker and select this color right here, and even for this variant I'll just select the light color, and we will do the same for these two variants as well. So I'll just select these two and select this color and change it to this color right here. Now these four variants are for mobile version and these four are for the desktop. Now let's add two more properties. So let's select this component and let's click on this option button and click on add new property, and we'll just name it dark. So we will have a switch for dark and light buttons. And let's create one more property. So let's click on this add new property button and we will add a property called platform. So here we will have desktop and mobile, and here for the platform I'll just type desktop as the default platform. Right now let's go into each of these variants and change the properties. So let's go over here to the first variant, and here for icon we have false, for dark we have true, and for platform we have desktop. Now let's select the second variant, and for this we have icon as true, and for dark it is set to true, and for platform it is set to desktop, so it's alright. Let's go to the next variant, and here we have icon and we'll set it to false, and for dark we have to set it to false because this is a light button, and for platform we have desktop, and then for the next button we have the icon and we'll just set it to true, and it's a light button, so I'll just change this dark to false, and it's a button for desktop, so I'll just keep it as desktop. And then we have these buttons for the mobile version. So let's change some of these values over here. So let's change the text size to 16 pixels, and we'll just change the padding to 12 pixels top and bottom and 32 pixels left and right. And I'll just do the same thing for all these buttons, and also change the size of this icon to 16. Right now let's select these four variants and let's set the platform to mobile. So I'll just tap mobile over here, and now let's select these two variants and let's change the dark to false, and now let's select these two variants and let's set the icon to true. Right now let's check whether we have everything set up alright. So let's select this first variant and we have icon to false, dark to true, and platform as desktop. And then we have the next variant, we have icon set to true, dark to true, and platform desktop. And then for the next one we have icon set to false, we have dark set to false because it's a light button, and then we have the platform set to desktop. And then for this one we have icon set to true, dark set to false, and platform to desktop. Let's select this one, and we have the icon set to icon 6, we have to set it to false, and the dark is set to true and platform mobile. And for this one we have icon set to true, dark to false, and platform set to mobile. And then for this one we have icon set to icon 8, we have to set it to false, and dark is set to false and platform mobile, and icon set to true, dark, false, and platform mobile. Right now let's test it out. So here we can see we have dragged this component from here, and let's select this, and here we have these options of icon. So if I select icon, we have an icon over here, and here we have the option of setting the dark mode. So right now it's a dark button, and if I click on this, it's a light button, and if I click on this icon, we have icon in a light button. And then here we have the drop down for platform. So if I select mobile, we have a different version, and we can also select dark and icon for mobile as well. So everything is working alright. So that's basically it with our button component. Now in the same way, let's also create a component for the headings. So I'll just delete this button from here, and let's create a text, and here I'll just type heading 2, because this is going to be an H2 in HTML. Alright, now let's change some properties over here. Now for the heading, we will change the font to railway, and we'll set the font style to black, and we'll set the font size to 60 pixels. Now this is for the desktop version, and let's set the color of the text to this dark color over here. Now here in this heading, if you add some text, we can see that the width of the heading changes. Now we don't want that to happen. We want to have a set width. So what we will do is we will select this option called auto height, and now if you add some more text over here, we can see that it goes to the next line. Right now let's set the line height to 120%, and let's press enter. Alright, now the next thing we will do is we will make it an auto layout. So I'll just delete all this text from here, and for making it an auto layout, you can just right click over here and click on add auto layout. And now the next thing we will do is we'll just remove this padding from here. So I'll just drag over here and set it to 0, and let's change the name to heading. Right now let's make this a component. So let's click on this button called create component. Right now let's go to the text layer, and here under resizing, let's set the width to fill container. And now if you add some text over here, it goes to the next line. Right now let's add some variants, just like we did with this button. So let's go over here to variants and click on this plus icon, and here we can see we have this new variant over here. Now we need to have two variants each for each of the platforms. We need to have a variant for the dark heading, and we need to have a variant for the light heading. And in the same way, we need to have two variants for the mobile version and also two variants for the tablet version. So we need to have 6 variants in total. So I'll just click on this plus icon, and let's click on this plus icon a couple more times. Right now let's click on this component and let's add some properties. So we already have a property called property 1 over here. So I'll just change this to dark, and then we need to have one more property called platform. So let's click on this option button and click on add new property, and I'll just name this platform, and by default we will have the platform set to desktop. And here for the dark, I'll just set the default value to true. Right now let's select this first variant, and here we will set the dark to true and the platform to desktop, so it looks alright. Now for the next variant, we will change the color of the text to white. So let's scroll down and let's change the color to white. Now we cannot see the variant, so I'll just change the color of this frame. So let's change this to something different. Let's change it to this color right here. Right now for the second variant, we have to set the dark property to false, because this is a light heading, and the platform will be desktop. Right now let's move on to the next heading, and for this we will set the dark value to true, and this will be for tablet. So I'll just change platform to tablet, and we'll also change the font size of this heading. So let's double click over here, and I'll just change the font size to 40 pixels, and I'll do the same for this variant over here as well. And for this variant we have dark set to true and platform set to tablet. Now let's select this one right here, and we'll change the color to white, and let's set the dark property to false, and we'll set the platform property to tablet. Now let's move on to the next variant, and for this we will set a font size of 30 pixels. And even for the last variant we will set a font size of 30 pixels because this is for the mobile version. And let's set the dark to true, and for the platform I'll just set it to mobile, and for the next variant I'll just set the dark to false and the platform to mobile. And we also need to change the color to white color. Alright, that's it with our heading component. Now let's add this to our frame and let's see whether it works alright. So let's go to the assets and let's drag this heading out here. And here we can see we have this switch for dark and light heading. So we can change that over here. And we also have the platform over here, so we can select tablet. And we have this smaller heading. And we can select mobile. And we have the smaller heading. And we also have dark and light heading for all of that. So that's it with the heading component of our design. And that's basically it for this video. Now in the next couple of videos, we will design the rest of the components. And then we will start with the design of our website. So these are the two components that we designed. We have a component for buttons and also for headings. Now creating components can make the task of designing easier and quicker. So in this video we'll create this component over here for testimonials card. So let's get started. Now there are three parts in this card. We have this part over here for the content of the testimonial, and then we have the name and the company name over here, and then we also have this image over here. So we have to join all of these elements together and we have to create a component out of that. And we also have to make sure that it is responsive. So let's go back to our Figma file and let's start by creating a text layer. So let's click on text and let's type something over here. So I'll just type amazing work, well done. Right now let's change some properties over here. So first of all, let's change the font size to 18 pixels. And we will keep the font as railway. And we will change the line height to 150%. And we'll also change the color of the text to white. So let's click on this and select the white color. Now let's make this an auto layout. So I'll just right click over here and click on add auto layout. Now let's go inside the text layer and here we will set this width to fill container. So now when we change the width of this frame, we can see that the text goes down to the next line. Right now let's rename this to testimonial content. Right now let's create a new text layer and this will be for the name. So I'll just type Jane Cooper. And we'll set the font size to 24 pixels. And I think the font size of this text hasn't changed. So let's double click over here and we can see it is still 12 pixels. So let's change it to 18 pixels. Right now let's change the color of this text to a dark color that we have over here. So I'll just click on this color and select this dark color from here. Right now let's duplicate this. I'll just press Alt and drag it down. And here we will add the company name and the designation. So I'll just type developer Sony and I'll just change the font size to 18 pixels and we'll change the font style to regular. Right now let's select both of this and let's make this an auto layout. So I'll just right click over here and click on add auto layout. Right now let's add a circle for this image. So I'll just click on this arrow and click on ellipse. And I'll just create a circle of 120 pixels width and height. And here I'll just add an image. So I'll just right click over here and go to plugins. And let's select this plugin over here called Pexels. So I have already installed this plugin. So let's go over here to Pexels. And let's search for person. And let's select this image from here. Right now let's make this an auto layout as well. So I'll just right click and click on add auto layout. Right now let's select this and let's add some padding. So let's click on this button right here and we will add a top and bottom padding of 24 pixels, and for left and right we will have a padding of 32 pixels. And now let's add a background color. So let's click on plus over here in fill and let's click on this color and let's select a color from here. So I'll just select this color right here, so I'll just click on this color over here, and we'll also add a border radius. So let's go over here to the top, and we'll add a border radius of 24 pixels, and we'll also change the names over here. So I'll just change this to testimonial name, and I'll just change this to testimonial image. Alright, now let's select both of this and let's create an auto layout. So I'll just right click over here and click on add auto layout, and let's go over here to alignment and padding, and let's change this to center, and let's add a padding of 32 pixels for left and right. Alright, now let's select all of this and let's create an auto layout. So I'll just right click over here and click on add auto layout. Alright, now let's change the width of this to the full width over here, and we'll just name this testimonial. Alright, now let's select this frame over here, and I'll just name this name and image, and let's also remove the spacing from here. So let's click on testimonial, and I'll just remove this spacing between items. Alright, now if we increase the size of this testimonial, we want the image to move over here to the right. So for that we have to set full width for this name and company. So I'll just double click over here and select this frame over here, and let's change the resizing to fill container. And now if we increase the width of this testimonial, we can see that the image moves to the right. Now we have to do the same for this frame over here as well. So let's double click over here and let's change this to fill container, and now we can see everything works alright. Now let's change the background color. So I'll just click on plus over here, and I'll also change the border radius to 24 pixels. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to move this image up a little bit. So let's double click over here, and I'll just change the padding to 0. And now let's click on this alignment and padding, and let's click on packed, and let's select space between, and now we can go ahead and add some padding over here. So we can see that the image has this offset over here. So what I will do is I'll just select auto layout to vertical direction, and now let's change this bottom value over here, and now we can see that the image moves up. So I'll just set this value to 24 pixels, and I think that looks alright. And let's also add a box shadow. So I'll just select testimonial, and let's click on plus over here in effects, and let's click on effect settings, and I'll just change the Y value to, let's say, 9, and let's change the blur to, let's say, 36 pixels, and I'll just change this percentage to 20%. I think that looks alright. Now let's add some more text over here, and let's see what happens. And now we can see when we add text, it moves down and everything looks alright. And we also need to change the line height. So let's double click over here on the text layer, and I'll just change the line height over here. So I think 150% looks alright. Alright, now let's delete all of this. Alright, now let's make this a component. So let's click on this and let's click on create component. And now let's create a variant for the mobile version. So let's click on plus for variants, and I'll just select this testimonial, and we'll just change this property name to platform, and by default we will have the platform set to desktop, and for this one we'll set it to desktop, and for the next one we will set it to mobile. And for the mobile version, I'll just change the font size of this name to 18 pixels, and I'll just change the font size of this text over here to 14 pixels, and we'll also change the size of this image. So let's select this ellipse, and I'll just set it to 100 pixels, and let's select this frame, and let's make some changes over here. So I'll just change this value to, let's say, 42 pixels, and I'll just reduce the height of this image frame, and I think that looks alright. Alright, now let's go to assets, and let's add this testimonial component over here. So let's drag this over here, and we can see this is the component, so it is responsive. And let's go over here to platforms and let's select mobile version, and this is how the mobile version looks. So everything works alright. So that's it with the testimonials component. Alright, now in this video we'll create the component for this course card over here. So we need to have this image, we need to have this text, and also this duration over here. So we'll create a component for this course card so that we can reuse it. So let's get started. Alright, let me just delete this instance of this component over here, and let's start creating the component for the course card. So the first thing I will do is I'll just create a rectangle, and we will add an image inside this. So I'll just increase the width and the height over here. Let's set the width to 430 pixels, and we will set the height to 260 pixels. And now let's also add a border radius, so I'll just change this value to 24. Alright, now let's add an image inside this rectangle. So I already have a plugin installed in Figma called Pixels. So I'll just right click over here and go to plugins and click on Pixels. Now if you don't have this plugin installed, you can go over here to browse plugins in community and just install it from there. Right, let's go over here to Pixels, and let's search for game, and let's search for an image over here. I think we'll just add this image right here. Right, now we can see we have this image inside our rectangle. Now let's also add a little bit of drop shadow. So let's click on this rectangle, and let's go over here to effects and click on plus. And here in the effect settings, let's change some settings over here. So I think we will set the Y value to, I think 4 looks alright, and we'll just increase the blur a little bit, and I think that looks alright, and let's keep it at that. Alright, now let's add the title of this course. So let's click on this text button, and I'll just add a title. I'll just type Game Design Essentials. So I'll just type Game Design Essentials, and let's change the font style to black, and I'll just change the color to the dark color that we have in our website. So I'll just select this color right here. Let's also set the line height to 150%. So I'll just change this to 150%. And now if we type another line of text, we can see that we have this line height. Alright, now the next thing we will do is we'll create this duration over here. So I'll just duplicate this by pressing Alt and dragging it down. And here I'll just type 8 hours. And I'll just change the font size to 16 pixels. And let's also add the icon of clock over here. So I'll just right click over here and go to plugins, and I'll just select hero icons, and let's search for clock. And here we can see the clock icon, so I'll just drag it down here. And let's also change the color to this dark color over here. Now we can see this clock is outside this frame, so let's bring it inside. Right, I think this looks alright. So I'll just select both of this, and let's right click over here and click on Add Auto Layout. And let's go over here to Alignment and Padding, and let's set it to center. Right, now let's bring this title over here to the left. And now let's make both of these an auto layout. So I'll just select both of these, and let's right click over here and click on Add Auto Layout. And let's go over here and click on Center. Now the next thing we will do is we will set a fixed width for this frame. So I'll just select this, and I'll just change this to title and duration. Right, now if we type some value over here, we can see that the width increases. We don't want that to happen. So let's select this text layer, and let's go over here to resizing, and I'll just change this to fill container. Now it will fill according to the container size. So if I just add some text over here, we can see that it goes to the next line. Alright, now let's set the space between these two items to 16. So right now we have a space of 22. So let's select this title and duration frame, and I'll just change this to 16 pixels. Alright, now we can see we have a space of 16 pixels, and even if we increase the width of this frame, we will still have a space of 16 pixels over here. Alright, now the next thing we will do is we'll create a rectangle for this border bottom over here. So for that, let's go ahead and let's add a rectangle. So I'll just click on rectangle, and I'll just create a rectangle, and we'll just set the height to 8 pixels. and let's increase the width over here, and we will set the color of this rectangle to the dark color, and we'll also add a border radius over here, so I'll just type 24. Right now let's select all of this and let's create an auto layout. So I'll just make some adjustments over here. So here between these two elements we will have a space of, I think 24 pixels looks alright, and I'll just increase the width of the image over here. Right now let's select all of this and let's right click over here and click on add auto layout. Alright, we will also increase the width of this rectangle over here. Alright, now let's change the background color of this frame to white. Before that, let's change this name to course, and let's go over here to fill and we'll click on plus, and let's also add a border radius of 24 pixels, and let's also add some padding to the left and the right. So let's click on this alignment and padding, and for left and right we'll set a padding of 32. Alright, that's pretty much it with the course card. Alright, now let's increase the width and let's see what happens. And we can see that the width of these elements are the same. Now we want the width of the image and also this rectangle over here to change width based on the frame. So let's undo this and let's click on this image. And here instead of fixed width, let's set it to fill container. And let's also select this rectangle. And here also we'll set it to fill container. And we'll also select this frame over here for title and duration. And here also we'll set the width to fill container. Right now let's see what happens. And we can see everything works alright. So there's no problems in our course card. And if we add some more text over here, let's see what happens. So everything works alright. So that's it with the course card. Now let's make it a component so that we can reuse it, and we also want to have a variant for the mobile version. So let's click on this button called create component. Right now let's go over here to variants and let's click on new variant, and this variant is for the mobile version. So for the mobile version we will set a height of 240 pixels, and for the title we will change the font size to 24 pixels. Alright, that's it for the mobile version. Now let's rename the property. So let's click on this component, and here instead of property 1 I'll just type platform, and here for the first variant I'll just change the platform to desktop, and for the second variant I'll just change this to mobile. Alright, now let's test it out. So let's go over here to assets, and let's drag this course card over here, and we can see everything works alright. And if we increase or decrease the width, there's no problem. And let's select the mobile version, and it also works alright, there's no problem. So that's it with the course component, and with that we have created all the components that we need for our website. So here we can see we have components for button, heading, and also components for this testimonial card and also this course card. And I also have this image over here which we're going to use in our design, and I will leave the link of this Figma file in the description of this video. Alright, so let's get started. Now we will start with the desktop version of our design. So if you go back to our completed design, here we can see this is the desktop version, and in this video we will design this hero section over here. So let's go ahead and create a frame. So here in the Figma file, let's click on this frame button and let's click over here, and we'll set the width to 1366 and the height to 768. Alright, this is gonna be the desktop version, so I'll just rename this to desktop. Alright, now the first thing we will do is we will create this background color over here. So we have a linear gradient background color over here. So let's go back and let's create a rectangle, and we'll create a rectangle with the same size. So I'll just span this for the entire frame. Alright, now let's set the color of this rectangle. So let's click on this color, and I'll just change solid to linear. And for the first color I'll just set the color hex value to 6F7DFB, and then for the next color I'll just type the hex value to 26308C. and we'll set the percentage to 100. Alright, this is gonna be our background color. Now the next thing we will do is we will lock this layer, so even if we drag this by mistake, it should not be moved. So let's lock this layer, and now we can see that the layer cannot be selected. Alright, now the next thing we will do is we'll create a layout grid. So let's click on this frame, and here we can see we have this option called layout grid. So let's click on this plus icon, and let's click on this layout grid settings, and I'll just change this to columns, and I'll set 12 columns. So we will work in a 12 column layout. Right now let's create this logo over here. So let's click on text layer and click over here, and let's type GD, and let's set the font family to railway, and we'll set the font size to 40 pixels, and we will set the font style to black, and the color is already set to white. Right now the next thing we will do is we will create these menu items over here. So I'll just duplicate this, so I'll just press Alt and drag this over here, and for the menu items we need to have about, services, and our work. So I'll just double click over here, and let's type about, and let's change the font size to 16 pixels, and we'll change the font to Poppins, and we'll change the style to bold. Right now let's create services and our work. So I'll just duplicate this, and we will have a gap of 60 pixels in between this. So if you press Alt and hover over this, we can see we have 60 pixels of gap, and let's type services, and let's duplicate this and bring it over here, and here we'll just type our work, and then we need to add a button called enroll now. So we have already created a component for the buttons. So here we can see we have this component. So let's add the component over here. So just go over here to assets, and from the components I'll just drag this button component over here, and we will have a space of 60 pixels, and we'll change the text to enroll now. Right now let's align everything to the grid. So here we can see we have this grid line, so I'll just move it to the right, and we'll also select all of this, and I'll just click on this button called align vertical centers, and now we can see everything is centered. And let's group all of this. So I'll just right click over here and click on group selection, or you can just press Ctrl G, and I'll just name this menu items, and I'll just name this logo. And now let's move this to the right. So I'll just align this with the right grid line over here, and now let's select both of this, and let's align everything to the center. And now let's make this a group. So I'll just press Ctrl G, and I'll just change the name to menu bar, and let's select this, and we will have a spacing of 42 pixels from the top. So if I press Alt, we can see that we have 63 pixels at the top. So let's move this up, and now we can see we have 42 pixels at the top. Right now let's create the main title. So let's click on this text layer and click over here, and we need to type learn the art of game dev, and let's go over here to the right, and let's change some of these values over here. I'll just change the font size to 50 pixels, and let's change the font to railway, and we will set the font style to black, and we'll decrease the width over here, and we will set the line height to 125%. Right now let's create this subheading. So let's drag this down here, and I'll change the font size to 16 pixels, and we'll change the font to Poppins, and I'll just change the style to regular, and let's set the line height to 200%. Right now let's add some text over here. Alright, so I have added this text over here. Now after that we have this button. So for that we already have a component, so I'll just go over here to assets, and from the components I'll just drag this button over here, and we need to have a light button. So let's select light, and we also need to add an icon. So let's click on icon, and I'll just change the text to enroll now. And now let's align everything correctly. So let's align everything to the grid, and even this paragraph, and even this button, and I think that looks alright. So I'll just select all of this, and let's move this down a little bit, and now we can see we are in the center. Alright, now let's add the image to the right. So here we already have this image, so I'll just duplicate this and bring this over here, and we'll just align this over here to the right. Alright, now let's hide this layout grid. So I'll just select the frame and click on this eye icon. Alright, now the last thing we need to add is this achievement card over here. So let's create a text, and I'll just type 32K, and I'll just change the font to Poppins, and I'll just change the style to extra bold, or let's keep it at bold, and let's duplicate this down, and here we have students enrolled. So I'll just type students enrolled, and for this we will have a font size of 36 pixels, and we'll change the color. So let's select this color, and we will have this dark color over here. And for this text we will have a font size of 16 pixels, and we'll set it to Poppins and regular, and we'll also change the color of this text to the dark color. Alright, now let's create this rectangle. So let's click on this rectangle and create one over here. Let's go over here to layers, and we can drag this down, or you can just press Ctrl and press the square brackets, and we can move it down or up. Alright, let's bring it over here, and let's increase the width and the height, and I think that looks alright. And let's add a border radius of 24 pixels, and let's set the color to white, and we also need to give it a 3D look over here like this. So let's duplicate this rectangle, and let's bring it over here to the right, and let's change the color to this color right here, and I'll just bring it below this other rectangle, and I think we have a linear gradient over here. So let's select this color, and let's change this to linear, and I'll just select the first color and change this to 6F7DFB, and I'll change the last color to 3B448F, and let's change the alpha to 100. Alright, that's it with this card right here. Alright, now let's select this, and let's group it, and I'll just name this achievements. And we also need to add one more for this rating. So I'll just duplicate this and bring it over here, and let's change this to, we have 4.7, so I'll just type 4.7, and here we'll just type overall rating. And we also need to have this star over here. So for that we're going to use a plugin called Iconify. So I'll just right click over here and go to plugins and click on Iconify, and let's search for star. And here we can see all these icons. I'll just select this one from here, and let's drag it over here, and I'll just ungroup this. So right click over here and click on ungroup, and now let's add this star inside this group. So I'll just move this a little bit to the left, and let's decrease the size of the star and add this over here. I think that looks alright. So let's bring it to the center, and let's decrease the width of this a little bit, and let's also decrease the width of this one right here. Alright, that looks alright. I think we can decrease the height a little bit, and I'll just select all of this and group this, and we'll also decrease the height of this one right here. Alright, that looks alright. So that's basically it for this video. In the next video we will continue designing this home page. Now in this video we will design this testimonials section, and then we will design this our courses section. So let's get started. Now the first thing we will do is we will group all of this, and let's select all of these elements, and let's press Ctrl G, or you can just right click over here and click on group selection, and let's rename this to hero section. Right now let's increase the height of this frame. So let's select this frame and let's increase the height. Alright, now let's start with the testimonials section. So here we can see we have these two testimonial cards over here. So let's go back, and we have already created a component for the testimonial cards. So if you scroll up, here we can see we have this component already created. So let's add the component over here. So let's go over here to assets, and let's drag this component over here. And this is our first testimonial. Now we need to set the width of this testimonial card. So for that, let's enable the layout grid. So let's select this frame, and here we can see we have hidden the layout grid. So let's unhide it, and now let's position this testimonial card over here to the left, and let's decrease the width and let's set it till here. Alright, this is the first testimonial. Now let's add the text over here. So I'll just add this text. So I just updated the text, and we already have the name over here. Now you can go ahead and add your own image over here. So you can just double click over here and just go to this image, and you can choose your image from here, but I'll just keep this image. And now let's duplicate this and bring it down. So I'll just press Alt and drag it down over here. Now this second testimonial should be positioned a little bit to the right. So here we can see in the original design it is positioned to the right. Now let's change the background color of this testimonial. So I'll just go over here and I'll just double click, and I'll just select this color, and I'll just choose this color right here. And we'll also change the name and the company name. So here we have Jacob Jones and designer Facebook. So let's add that over here. And we also need to change the image. So I'll just double click over here, and I'm going to use a plugin. So I'll just right click over here and go to plugins, and then click on pixels, and here I'll just type person, and let's select this image right here, and let's also update this text. So here we have amazing work, well done. Alright, that's it with the two testimonial cards. Now let's add this background shape over here. So for that, let's create a rectangle. I'll just create a rectangle over here, and I'll just set the width to 28 pixels, and we'll also set the corner radius to 24, and I'll just increase the height over here, and let's change the background color. So I'll just select this color right here, and now we need to send this to the back of these testimonials. So for that, you can just drag it down here, or you can just press Ctrl and left square brackets to bring it down, and I'll just decrease the height a little bit. Let's see what is the space between these two elements. Let's set it to 50 pixels. I'll decrease the height a little bit. I'll just move it to the right a little bit. Alright, that's it with the left part of our testimonial section. So I'll just select all of this, and I'll just group it, and here I'll just type testimonials left. Alright, now let's create the right portion of this testimonial section. So here we have the heading, and we have some text over here, and then we have this button. So for the heading, we already have created a component. So let's go over here to assets, and let's drag this heading over here, and just make sure that the platform is set to desktop. And here I'll just change this text to what our students say. Alright, let's increase the width of this heading, and I think this looks alright. Now let's copy this text from here, because the styling of this text is the same as this text over here. So I'll just double click over here and copy this, and I'll just go over here to the bottom and paste it down here. And let's change the color of the text to the dark color, and let's also increase the width of this text layer. And now let's change the text. Alright, so I have changed the text. Now let's go ahead and add this button. So for the button, we already have a component, so I'll just drag this over here, and we need to have a light button. So let's change the dark to light. So I'll just click on this switch over here, and I'll just change the text to learn more. Right now let's position this correctly. So I'll just move this up a little bit, and I think this looks alright. And let's move this button up a little bit, and I think 30 pixels looks alright. Right now let's select all of this and let's group it, and I'll just rename this to testimonials right. Right now let's select both of this and let's align them to the center. So I'll just click on this button called align vertical centers. And now let's group all of this and we'll just name it testimonial section. Alright, now let's add a spacing of 100 pixels between the hero section and this testimonial section. So if you press Alt, we can see that we have a spacing of 98 pixels. So I'll just bring it down 2 steps. Right now let's hide the layout grid and let's see how it looks. And it looks alright. Now let's go ahead and design this section over here called Our Courses. So the first thing we will do is we'll copy this background rectangle over here. So it is the same color as this hero section. So I'll just select this and I think we have locked it. So let's unlock this and I'll just double click over here and select this rectangle and I'll just copy this, press Ctrl C and I'll just scroll down and I'll just paste it over here. And now here we can see we have this rectangle. I'll just bring it inside the frame. Right now let's move this rectangle up and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels between these two sections. So you can just press Shift and press the up arrow to move it 10 pixels to the top. Right now we can see we have a spacing of 100 pixels from the previous section. Now let's add a heading over here. So here we can see we have this heading Our Courses. So I'll just go over here to Assets and we already have created this component. So I'll just drag it over here and we need to have a white heading. So I'll just go over here to Dark and click on this switch. And now we can see we have a white heading and here we need to type Our Courses. So I'll just change this text and I'll just increase the width of this heading and we'll just bring it to the center. So I'll just click on Align Horizontal Centers and we also need to center the text. So I'll just double click over here and here inside text I'll just select Text Align Center. And now here we will have a spacing of 70 pixels from the top. So I'll just bring it down. And now let's go ahead and add these two course cards. So let's go over here to Assets and let's drag this component over here. And we'll just position it to the left. And I think we can increase the width a little bit. So I'll just set the width to, I think 526 looks alright. Now let's duplicate this and bring it to the right. And let's select both of this and let's move it up a little bit. I think this looks alright. Now the next thing we need to do is add this button. So I'll just go over here and drag this component. And we need to have a light button. So I'll just click on Dark. And let's change the text to All Courses. And that looks alright. And here from the button we will have a spacing of 70 pixels. Right now we have a spacing of 90 pixels, so I'll just decrease the height. You can just press Ctrl and press the up arrow. And now we can see we can decrease the height in this way. And let's bring it down a little bit more. Right now we have a spacing of 70 pixels. Now let's go ahead and change some of these details. So here we have Game Design Essentials and we also need to change the image. So I'll just double click over here and right click and go to Plugins and select Pixels and let's type Game and I'll just select this image right here. Now for the next card we have a title of Unity Game Engine Fundamentals. So let's change that over here. And now we need to move this down a little bit, so I'll just select this button and move it down. And we also need to increase the height of this rectangle. Right now we can see that both these cards have different heights. So what we can do is we'll just add an empty line over here. So I'll just press Enter. And now we can see we have the same height for both these cards. So that's basically it with our courses section. So I'll just select all of this. And let's group this. And I'll just name this Courses section. And this is how our website looks right now. We have the hero section, we have the testimonials section, and also the courses section. Now in this video we will design the Get Our App section and also this footer. So let's get started. Right now the first thing we need to have is this heading over here. So let's go back to our Figma file, and we have already created a component for the heading. So let's go to assets, and here inside components we have this heading. So I'll just drag this over here, and let's change the text to get our app, and let's increase the width of this heading. Now let's bring it to the center. So I'll just click on this button called align horizontal centers, and we also need to center align this text. So I'll just double click over here, and I'll just click on this button called text align center. Now we will have a spacing of 100 pixels from the previous section. So I'll just bring this up a little bit. Now the next thing we need to have is this text over here. So if we scroll up, we can see that this is the same styling of this text. So I'll just double click over here, and I'll just copy this. I'll just press Ctrl C, and let's scroll down, and here I'll just paste the element, and let's bring it to the center, and let's increase the width. Right now let's change the text. So we need to type, "You can use our app for better experience on your smartphones." Alright, so this is the text. I'll just center align this over here, and also center align the text, and let's bring this up, and I think this looks alright. Now the next thing we need to do is get these icons and add this text. So I have already downloaded the icons, and here we can see we have these two icons over here. So I'll just select both of these, and let's press Ctrl C, and let's scroll down, and here we'll just paste the icons. So I'll just press Ctrl V. Alright, now we need to have this background for these icons. So let's create a rectangle, and let's bring this rectangle to the bottom of the icon. So I'll just press Ctrl and left square brackets, and let's increase the width of this rectangle. And in here we will add a text. So I'll just click on text, and here we need to type App Store. So I'll just type App Store. Now for this text we will have a font size of 24 pixels, and we'll change the color of this text to white. So I'll just select white color from here, and let's select the background rectangle, and let's change the color to black, and I think that looks alright. Let's decrease the width a little bit. Alright, now let's select all of this, and let's make it an auto layout. So I'll just right click over here and click on add auto layout. Now the next thing we will do is we will have a fixed width for this frame. So I'll just increase the width over here, and now let's go ahead and duplicate this. So I'll just press Alt and drag this over here. Now for the second one we need to have this icon. So I'll just drag this over here, and I'll just delete this icon, and let's change the text to Google Play. Alright, that's it with the icons. Let's bring this a little closer to each other. And now let's select both of this, and let's bring it to the center. And I think that looks alright. Right now let's select all of this, and let's make it a group. So I'll just right click over here and click on group selection, and let's change the name to app section. Right now the last thing we need to do is create the footer. So here we can see we have this footer. So for that let's create a rectangle. So let's go back and let's click on this rectangle, and let's create a rectangle over here. Let's set the width to 100% of the frame, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels from the previous section. So I'll just bring this up a little bit. Right now the next thing we will do is we will change the background color of this footer. So let's scroll up, and here we can see we have this dark color over here. So let's select that color. So I'll just click on this color, and let's select this color right here. Alright, now let's go ahead and add this heading. So let's click on text, and let's type quick links, and let's set the font size to 18 pixels, and we'll set the color of the text to this color right here, and we will also set the font style to bold. Right now let's enable the layout grid. So for that let's select this frame. So I'll just press Ctrl and click over here, and I'll just click on this button to unhide the layout grid. Right now let's position this heading over here to the left, and for the top we will have a spacing of 70 pixels. So let's bring it up, and that's it with the heading. Now let's go ahead and add these links over here. So I'll just duplicate this and bring it to the right a little bit. And let's change the font style to regular. And let's set the font size to 16 pixels. And we'll set the color of the text to white. Now for the first link we have about us. So I'll just type about us over here. And I'll just set the text align to left. Now let's duplicate this and bring it down. And then we have these links over here. So I'll just quickly add all of these links. And I think this looks alright. So let's select all of this text and let's group it. Here I'll just type footer links. Now let's duplicate this and bring it to the right. So we have two more sections. So I'll just bring it over here. And I'll just duplicate this and bring it over here once more. And then for the next one we have course. So I'll just type course. And we also need to align this to the left. Right, let's type course. And in here we have login, download, and all courses. And we don't need to have this last link over here, so I'll just delete this. And then for the next one we have contact us. So I'll just double click over here and align this to the left. And let's type contact us. And here we need to have the email ID. So I'll just type contact@email.com. And then we need to have these icons of Facebook and Instagram. And then we need to have this email subscription box. So let's delete all of this. And I'll just copy this and bring it down here. And here we need to type the credits. So I'll just type it over here. And let's bring this to the left. Right now let's add these two icons. So let's right click over here and go to plugins and select Iconify. And let's select Facebook. And we need to have this round icon. So I'll just drag this over here. And then we need to have the icon of Instagram. So here just type Instagram. And let's drag this icon over here. Right now let's bring these two icons inside the footer. And let's change the color of these icons. So let's select both of this and let's change the color to white. And let's select and bring these icons to the top. And let's bring this over here. Let's set the same height to both these icons. So I'll just set the height to 24 pixels. Let's also select this. And let's set the height of this icon to 24 pixels as well. So let's select constraint proportions and let's type 24 over here. Right now let's delete this and let's create this email subscription box. So for that let's create a rectangle. So I'll just click on rectangle and create a rectangle over here. And let's increase the width. And let's change the fill color to white. And I'll just set the corner radius to 8. And let's add a text inside here. So let's click on text and here we'll just type email address. And I'll just reduce the opacity of this text. So here I'll just type 50%. And now let's create this button. So for that let's create one more rectangle. And let's decrease the height. And for this we will have a background color of this dark color. And let's bring this to the top. And let's set a corner radius of 8 pixels. Right now for the text we need to type subscribe. So I'll just duplicate this and bring this over here. And let's type subscribe. And let's bring this to the top. So I'll just drag this over here. And let's change the color of the text to white. And let's set the opacity back to 100. And I think we need to increase the width a little bit. Alright, now let's remove this layout grid and let's see how it looks. And I think we have a lot of space between these elements. So I'll just bring this over here to the left. And we will have a space of 132 pixels. And I'll also bring this to the left. And we need to have these elements in the group as well. So let's ungroup this. So I'll just click on ungroup, and let's select all of this, and let's group this, and let's bring this to the left. And now we can increase the width of this email subscription box. So let's select this rectangle, and let's increase the width a little bit, and let's select this button, and let's bring this to the right. And I think that's it with the footer. So let's decrease the BG rectangle, and we will have a space of 70 pixels. Right now let's select all of this, and let's group it. I think we have an extra element over here. I'll just delete this. Right now let's select all of this, and let's right click over here and click on group selection, and I'll just name this footer. So that's it with the footer of our website. Now let's decrease the height of this frame. So I'll just press Ctrl and click over here, and let's decrease the height. And here we can see the icons are moving up. So let's double click over here and select this icon. And for the constraints, we need to select top and left, and do the same for this as well. Right now let's decrease the height of this frame. So here we have our design for the desktop, and everything looks alright. We don't have any problems. So that's it for this video. We have completed the design of the desktop version. Now in this video we will start designing the tablet version. So let's get started. Now let's start by creating a frame. So let's click on frame, and let's click over here, and let's select a template from here. So let's click on frame, and let's select iPad Pro 11, and let's rename this to tablet. Now the first thing we will do is I'll just duplicate all these elements and bring it outside. So let's go into the desktop version, and let's select the hero section, and let's press Alt and drag this over here. Now we can go ahead and position these elements over here inside the iPad frame. Now the first thing we will do is we'll just copy all of these menu items and bring it over here. So I'll just double click over here and copy and paste it over here. And before that, let's copy and paste this background gradient color. So let's double click over here, and let's copy this, and let's go over here and paste it over here. And I'll just adjust the size according to the frame of the iPad. So now here we can see we have these menu items. Now we'll also bring this logo over here. So let's double click over here, and I'll just copy and paste it over here. Right now the next thing we will do is we will change this button variant. So let's double click over here, and here we can see for this button we have set the platform to desktop, and let's change this to mobile. So this will be the button for the tablet version. Now the next thing we will do is we'll change the gap between these elements. So let's double click over here, and if you press Alt, we can see that we have a spacing of 60 pixels. So let's move this over here. We will set a space of 42 pixels, and we will do the same for all the other elements. So let's double click over here, and let's change the spacing to 42 pixels, and we will do the same for this about. Right now let's select all of this, and let's bring it to the center. So I'll just press align vertical centers. Right now we will have a spacing of 60 pixels from the edges. So let's go over here to the right, and right now we have a spacing of 51 pixels. So let's move this 9 pixels to the left. And here for the logo, we will have a spacing of 60 pixels to the left. So let's do that over here. Right now let's select this logo and this menu items, and let's click on align vertical centers. Right now let's select both of this, and let's group it, and I'll just name it menu bar. And from the top we will have a spacing of 60 pixels. So let's move this down. Right now let's go ahead and copy the other elements. So let's copy this image. So I'll just bring this over here, and let's select both of these cards, and let's duplicate them and bring it over here. And let's also select these three elements, the heading, this paragraph, and this button, and let's duplicate them and bring them over here. And we'll just change this button to mobile, Right now let's go ahead and bring it to the left, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels, and we'll do the same for the right, and I'll just add a line break over here. Right now let's do the same for this paragraph. Let's bring it to the left, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels, and even for the right we will have a spacing of 100 pixels. So let's increase the width. Right now let's go ahead and bring this button to the left, and I think that looks alright. Now let's go ahead and increase the size of this image. So I'll just press shift and increase the size, and let's bring this over here to the bottom right, and let's also position these over here to the bottom, and I think that looks alright. I think we can bring these elements to the bottom a little bit, and I think that looks alright. So now let's delete this. Now let's go ahead and increase the height of this frame. Now the next thing we will do is copy this testimonials section. So I'll just duplicate this and bring this over here. Right now for the testimonials section, we will have the heading and this paragraph over here at the top. So let's double click over here and let's bring this over here. And the first thing we will do is we will change the heading to tablet. And these options are available over here because we had created it as a component. Now let's go ahead and set a padding of 100 pixels. So we'll have a spacing of 100 pixels from the left and from the right. So right now we have a spacing of 137 pixels. So let's bring this over here to the left, and let's also do this for the right. Now we will also have a margin of 100 pixels from this hero section. So let's select this, and right now we have a spacing of 94 pixels. Let's bring this down a little bit, and now we have 100 pixels. Right now let's bring this paragraph over here to the top, and we will have the same spacing for this as well. And we'll also remove this line break from here. So here I'll just remove this line break, and I think we need to bring this up a little bit. I think that looks alright. Right now the next thing we will do is we will change the button platform. So let's double click on this button, and we'll set the platform to mobile. And I'll just remove this button from this group. So I'll just right click over here and click on ungroup, and we will have this button at the bottom, and before that we will have both the testimonials. So let's go back over here, and let's bring these two testimonials over here. Right now let's bring this over here to the bottom, and let's increase the width of these testimonial cards. So I'll just double click over here, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels from the left and the right. So I'll just increase the width. Let's do the same for this testimonial. I'll just bring this up a little bit. We will have a spacing of 40 pixels, and let's increase the width. Let's decrease the height of this rectangle, and we'll position this button over here at the bottom right. And that's it with the testimonial section. So let's select all of this, and let's group this, and we'll just name this testimonial section. And we'll also group all of this, and we'll name this hero section. And now we can go ahead and delete this testimonial section from here. Right now the next thing we will do is copy this our courses section from here, and let's bring this over here. First of all, let's copy this background rectangle. So I'll just copy this, Ctrl C, and press Ctrl V over here. I'll just decrease the width, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels from the previous section. So I'll just bring this up over here, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels. Right now let's go ahead and copy this heading. So let's double click over here and copy this over here, and we'll change this heading to tablet, and let's bring it to the center. And now let's copy this course card. So just copy this. So I'll just double click over here and copy this, and I'll just increase the height of this rectangle. Let's copy the second course card and bring this over here, And let's also copy this button and bring this over here. And let's change this button to mobile. Now for these cards, we will increase the width. So let's set the width matching with this testimonials card. And let's increase the width over here as well. And I think we have a line break over here, so let's delete that. Or now let's bring this card up, and we will have a spacing of, I think, 60 pixels looks alright. Or let's increase it to 80 pixels, and let's increase the width, and that looks alright. Now let's bring this button up over here to the bottom right. Now let's decrease the height of this rectangle, and I think that looks alright. So that's it with the courses section. So I'll just delete this, and I'll just select all of this, and let's group this, and we'll just name it courses section. Right now the next thing we will do is copy this get our app section. So I'll just copy all of this directly over here to the iPad frame, and let's change this heading to tablet, and let's bring this paragraph to the top, and let's bring this to the center. Let's decrease the width, and let's bring both of these to the top, and I think that looks alright. Let's select all of this, and it's already a group, so let's bring this up. We will have a spacing of 100 pixels. Right now the last thing we need to do is copy the footer. So let's duplicate this and bring this over here. And for the footer we will have a 2-column layout. So first of all, let's copy this background color. So I'll just double click over here and copy this rectangle and paste it over here, and let's drag this over here. Let's decrease the width, and let's increase the height. Right now let's select this first part and this second part, and let's drag them over here, and let's position this correctly. We will have a spacing of 100 pixels, and let's select this section right here, and let's duplicate this and bring this over here, and let's bring this up a little bit, and that looks alright. And then finally let's select this text from here, and let's bring this over here, and I'll just position it over here. And from the top we will have a spacing of 70 pixels. So I'll just move this rectangle to the bottom, and I think we can move this up a little bit. Right now let's decrease the height of this rectangle, and that looks alright. So let's select all of this, and let's group this, and we'll just name this footer, and let's bring this up, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels, and that looks alright. Now you can select and delete this, and that's it with the tablet version of our website. So now we can just decrease the height of this frame, and I'll just bring this over here to the left. So now we have the desktop version and also the tablet version. Now in this video we will design the mobile version. Now the mobile version will be quite similar to this tablet version. We're just going to make some changes to the padding of these elements, and we're going to change these components to the mobile version, and we'll also change this footer to a 1-column layout. So let's get started. Or let's start by creating a frame. So let's click on frame, and let's click over here, and let's select a template from here. So let's click on frame, and I'll just select the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and let's change the name to smartphone. Alright, now let's move this to the right side, and let's copy this hero section to outside this frame. So let's go into the tablet version, and let's select the hero section, and let's click Alt and drag this over here. Right now let's add these components to our smartphone version. So the first thing we will do is we'll copy this background rectangle. So I'll just double click over here, and here we can see we have this rectangle. So I'll just press Alt and drag this over here, and I'll just adjust the size according to the frame. Right, that's it with the background. Now let's copy this logo. So I'll just double click over here, and let's duplicate this over here, Now for the mobile version, we won't be having these menu items displayed over here. We will have a menu icon, and when we click on the menu icon, we will display these menu items in a pop-up. So for that, let's add a menu icon over here. So I'll just right click over here and go to plugins, and let's select hero icons, and let's search for menu, and I'll just select this one right here, and let's drag this and bring it inside our frame. And we'll also decrease the size of this logo. So let's click on this logo, and we'll set the size to 36 pixels, and let's change the color of this menu icon to the dark color that we have in our website, and let's increase the size of this menu icon. So for that, I'm going to select this tool over here called scale, and now let's increase the scale, and I think this looks alright. So that's it with our menu icon. Now let's select this, and we will have a spacing of 32 pixels on the right side. So let's press Alt, and now we have a spacing of 57 pixels. So let's bring this to the right, and that looks alright. Let's also bring this logo to the left, and we will have 32 pixels of padding. Right now let's select both of this, and let's align them to the center. So I'll just click on this button called Align Vertical Centers, and let's group this. So I'll just press Ctrl G, and we'll name this group Menu Bar, and we will have a spacing of 60 pixels from the top. So I'll just bring this up 1 pixel. Alright, now the next thing we will do is we'll copy these 3 elements. So I'll just select all of these, and let's press Alt and bring this over here, and we'll also decrease the width of these elements. So I'll just select this text over here, and we will have a spacing of 32 pixels from the left and the right, and we'll also decrease the size of this font. So let's select this, and right now we have a size of 50 pixels. Let's decrease this, and let's set it to, I think, 36 pixels, and that looks alright. Right now let's decrease the size of this paragraph over here, and we will have a spacing of 32 pixels, and let's bring this to the top a little bit, and I think that looks alright. And now let's select this button, and we have already set the platform to mobile in the tablet version, and now we need to add this image over here as well. So let's double click over here, and let's press Alt and bring it over here, and we need to decrease the size of this image. So I'll just press Shift and drag this over here. I think this looks alright. Let's bring these elements to the top, and I think that looks alright. We can just decrease the size of this image a little bit. Now let's add these 2 elements over here. So let's double click, and let's also select this, and let's press Alt and bring this over here, and here we'll just change the size of these elements. So for the students enrolled, I'll just change the font size to 14 pixels, and for 32K I'll just set it to 30 pixels, and let's also decrease the size of this rectangle, and we'll do the same for this one as well. Now let's select this, and let's copy this down over here, and I'll just change this to overall rating, and let's change this to 4.7, and let's bring this star. Let's copy this and bring this over here. Let's decrease the size a little bit, and let's select both of this and bring this to the left, and I think that looks alright. Now let's delete this element from here. We can decrease the width of these elements a little bit. Alright, that's it with these 2 elements, and I think we can move this image to the right a little bit, and let's move these elements over here to the bottom, and I think that looks alright. Alright, that's it with the hero section of our mobile version. So let's select all of these elements inside the smartphone, and let's group this. So I'll just press Ctrl G, and let's name this hero section. Alright, now we can delete this hero section from here. Alright, now let's go ahead and increase the height of this frame. So I'll just select this frame, and let's increase the height. Right now let's copy and paste the second element. So let's copy this testimonial section, Now let's go ahead and select this heading, and we have to change the platform to mobile, and let's move this up a little bit. And we also have to change the platform of this testimonial component to mobile. So let's select this and let's select mobile, and I'll do the same for this one as well. Right, now let's copy these to our smartphone frame. So let's decrease the width a little bit, and let's decrease the width of this as well, and also of these two components. And let's also bring this button to the left. Right, now let's copy all of this and let's drag it inside this frame, and let's set a top padding of 100 pixels. So right now we have a gap of 96 pixels from the top, so I'll just move this down 4 pixels, and on the sides we need to have 32 pixels. So here we have 32 pixels. Let's go ahead and change the width of these elements. So now we have 32 pixels for this element. Let's do the same for this text layer, and let's bring these elements to the bottom a little bit, and let's decrease the width of these testimonial cards and even of this one right here, and let's bring this button to the left. And we can also decrease the height of this rectangle over here, and we'll just bring it to the left a little bit, and that looks alright. Alright, so now let's select all of this, and it is already a group, so let's keep it as it is. Now let's go ahead and copy the next section, which is this Our Courses section. So let's copy this over here, and let's change the heading to mobile, and let's change these elements, course cards, to mobile. We'll do the same for this element as well. I'll just select mobile from here in the platform, and let's decrease the size of these course cards. Let's decrease the size of this background. Right, now let's select all of this, and let's bring it inside the smartphone frame. Alright, let's bring this to the left, and we'll also decrease the width of this background rectangle. Alright, now let's have a spacing of 60 pixels from the top for this heading, and we'll also have a spacing of 32 pixels from the left and the right. Alright, now let's select this course card, and let's bring it to the left, and we will have a spacing of 0 from the left and the right. So I'll just bring this over here, and we will do the same for this course card as well. So let's bring it to the left, and let's decrease the width. And we also had a button. Let's see where's the button. So it's over here. Let's bring it to the left, and let's position this over here. We will have a spacing of 32 pixels on the right. Right, that looks alright. Right, now let's decrease the height of this rectangle. Right, now let's select this group, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels from the previous section. So let's move this up. Alright, that's it with the course section. Now let's go ahead and copy this section right here for Get Our App. And for this we'll position these two elements one below the other. So let's position this over here, and let's bring this to the center, and let's select this heading, and let's change this to mobile. Let's decrease the width of this heading right here. Right, now let's copy all of this and bring it over here, and we will have a spacing of 100 pixels from the top. Right, now let's select this and bring it to the center. So let's click on Align Horizontal Centers, and also we will have a spacing of 32 pixels from the left and the right for this paragraph. Right, now let's bring this paragraph up a little bit, and let's select both of this, and we'll bring this to the center. And I think we can decrease the height of these elements over here. So let's double click over here, and let's reduce the height a little bit. So we'll set the padding to 16 pixels from the top and bottom, or let's set it to 12 pixels, and we'll do the same for this one right here. Let's select this, and let's type 12 for top and bottom, and let's bring this to the top a little bit, and that looks alright. And that's it with the Our App section. Now let's go ahead and copy this footer. So let's copy this over here. Now for the footer, we need to have all these elements one below the other. So we'll have a one column layout. So I'll just select this background and let's increase the height a little bit. And let's position these one below the other. So I'll just select both of these and bring them to the bottom. And let's select the other one and let's bring it to the middle. And we'll also decrease the width of this input field. So let's double click over here and let's decrease the width of this input field. And what I will do is I'll just bring this button to the bottom. So let's bring this to the bottom a little bit. And let's select this button. And let's bring this to the bottom over here. Right now let's decrease the width of this background. And let's copy all of this and let's bring it inside the smartphone frame. And let's decrease the width of this background. And we're going to have a spacing of 100 pixels from the top. Right now let's scroll down and let's bring this to the left and also this paragraph. Right now let's bring all of this to the center. So let's click on this group over here. And now if I click on align horizontal centers, we can see that the whole group is centered, but all the individual elements are not centered. So let's ungroup this first. So I'll just right click over here and click on ungroup. And now let's select all of this and let's click on align horizontal centers. And now we can see everything is centered correctly. So let's do the same for all the other elements. We'll also check whether we have the correct padding at the top. So we have a padding of 85 pixels. Let's select all of this and let's group it once again. And we will have a spacing of 60 pixels. So let's bring this up a little bit. Right now let's select this and let's ungroup this. And let's click on align horizontal centers. And now let's group this and now let's click on align horizontal centers. And now we can see it is in the center. And we'll also bring this up a little bit. So we will have a spacing of 40 pixels. I think that looks alright. Right now let's go ahead and bring this section over here to the top. And let's bring it to the center. Let's click on align horizontal centers. And let's ungroup this. And now let's select both of this and let's click on align horizontal centers. And let's group this and let's bring it to the center. And we'll also bring both of these icons to the center. So let's double click over here and let's group it first. So I'll just press Ctrl G and let's align horizontal centers. And we'll just increase the width of this input field. So we will have a spacing of 32 pixels and the same for the right. You can just press Ctrl and press the left and the right arrows to increase the width. And let's bring this placeholder to the left. And I'll just increase the height of this button. And let's group this button. And let's click on align horizontal centers. And let's also bring this paragraph to the top. And let's set a spacing of 32 pixels from the left and the right. And I think we can decrease the size a little bit. So let's set it to 14 pixels and let's set it to text align center, and that looks alright. So that's it with the footer of our mobile version. Now let's decrease the height of this rectangle and we will have a spacing of 70 pixels. So let's press Ctrl and up arrow. Right now we have 70 pixels. So that's it with the footer. Right now let's select this and we have a spacing of 100 pixels from the previous section. Right now let's decrease the height of this frame. So let's select this frame. So I'll just press Ctrl and click over here. And let's decrease the height of this frame. Alright, that's it with the mobile version of our website. Now the last thing we need to do is add the navigation menu for our mobile version. So in this video, we'll create a navigation menu for our mobile version. So when we click on this menu button, we want to have a navigation menu displayed over here, and it should have a close button. And when we click on the close button, the navigation menu should close. So let's get started. Right now, the first thing we will do is we'll create a frame. So let's click on frame and let's click over here and we'll select this frame and let's select iPhone Pro Max. And this is going to be our navigation menu. Now the first thing we will do is we will add a background color. So let's select this color and let's select the dark color that we have for our website. And I think we will select the other dark color that we have in our website. So if you scroll up, here we have this color. So let's select this. Right now the next thing we will do is we will add the menu items over here. So let's click on text and let's click over here, and we need to add about services and our work. So let's type about over here, and let's set the font size to 16 pixels, or let's set it to 18 pixels. I think we can increase it a little bit more, so I'll just set it to 24 pixels. Alright, that looks alright. So let's bring it to the center, and now let's duplicate this and let's bring it down, and here we will type services, and let's bring it to the center, and we will have a gap of 40 pixels in between. So right now we have a gap of 41. Let's bring it down. Alright, now let's duplicate this and bring it down over here, and the next menu item we need to have is our work, and let's send it to the center. And now we also need to have a button. So for that, let's go over here to assets, and let's drag this component over here, and we'll change the platform to mobile, and we will change it to a light button. So let's uncheck dark, and we will change the text of the button to enroll now, and let's bring it to the center. Let's select this and let's click on align horizontal centers. So this is going to be our navigation menu. So let's select all of this and let's group it. So I'll just press Ctrl G, and let's name this menu items, and for this frame I'll just name it navigation menu. Now the next thing we need to do is add a close icon. So let's right click over here and go to plugins, and let's select hero icons, and if we scroll down we can see that we have this icon for close. So let's drag this over here, and let's change the color of the icon to white, and let's increase the size a little bit. So if you go over here to this icon, let's see what is the size. We have a size of 39 pixels. I think we can increase it to 40 pixels to be a bit more consistent. Alright, now let's select this and let's change the size to 40 pixels, and let's select this tool called scale, and let's increase the size, and we'll set it to 40 pixels, and let's bring it over here to the top right. We will have a spacing of 60 pixels from the top and 32 pixels from the right. Alright, this is our navigation menu. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to set a prototype where when we click on this button we want to have this navigation menu displayed over here, and when we click on this close button it should go back and we should have this home screen. So let's go over here to prototype and let's select this button. Now let's go back and select the move tool, and here we can see we have this plus icon displayed over here. So we have to drag this to wherever we want. So I'll just drag it over here to this frame, and here we have some options for interaction. So we will set it to on click, and here we have an option called navigate to this frame navigation menu, and then we have the animation and all of those over here. So I'll just set this to open overlay, because we're going to open this navigation menu as an overlay, and here we have some options as to where this navigation menu should be displayed. We'll just set it to centered, and we have some other options over here. We'll just leave it as it is, and here we have animation, and let's select this and let's select move in. And now here we have different options like move in from the left or move in from the right, and all of those options over here. So I'll just select this one right here, and let's set it to ease out. And now the next thing we need to do is we need to add an interaction for this close button as well. So let's select this, and this close button should be inside this navigation menu. So I'll just drag this over here. Alright, now let's select this close button, and we will drag a connection from here to this frame over here. So I'll just click and drag and drop it into this frame, and here we'll just choose close overlay. And now let's go ahead and test it out. So let's select this, and let's click on this button called present, and here we have the home screen, and let's click on this button, and we can see that the navigation menu is displayed over here. And if I click on this close button, it is hidden. So the navigation menu is working alright. Now if you want to test this design in your smartphone, you can go ahead and download an application called Figma Mirror, and just go ahead and log in with your Figma credentials. And once you log in, you can just click on any of these frames. So here I have installed Figma Mirror on my phone, and let's select this frame over here, and we can see that our design is displayed over here in the phone. Now you can go ahead and scroll down, and we can see everything is working alright. Now let's test this menu button. So let's click on this menu button, and we can see that the navigation menu is displayed over here. And let's click on this close button, and we can see it is hidden. So everything is working alright. And I think the font over here is not correct. The font over here is Poppins, so we have to change all of this font to Poppins. So let's change this to Poppins. Alright, now let's center this. Alright, so that's basically it with this video, and with that we have completed this series where we have designed all of this design from scratch. And I will leave the link of this Figma file and also the complete playlist in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and check that out. And if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.